V dnešním díle magazínu Svět okem Raptora se podíváme, jak generální ředitel společnosti ZEISS China řekl, že Čína je pro firmu ZEISS hlavním trhem. Nigerijské úřady zavedly nové předpisy, které umožní domácím rafineriím platit za dodávky ropy od producentů ropy v zemi v místní měně. Zájem globálních společností o čínský spotřebitelský trh se zdvojnásobil. Čínský mezinárodní veletrh spotřebního zboží China International Consumer Products Expo ukazuje nové trendy v nakupování žen. Měnící se trh nutí britské maloobchodní prodejny s luxusní módou přizpůsobit se, říká odbornice na spotřebitele. Maximilian First, prezident a generální ředitel společnosti ZEISS China, zdůrazňuje zásadní roli čínského trhu pro úspěch nadnárodní společnosti. Podle Firsta je Čína pro společnost ZEISS hlavním trhem, na němž se společnost zavázala k dalším investicím a aktivní účasti, a zdůrazňuje nezlomitelnou víru společnosti ZEISS v trvalý růst a příležitosti, které čínský trh nabízí.
How is ZEISS positioning China in light of all that has happened, post-COVID years, economic recovery?
The position of China for ZEISS has not changed dramatically through all these times. I think the importance of China is still there and continues growing. I'll put it in a quite simple way, actually. If you look at the expected global economic growth from 2023 to 2028, of the absolute amount of wealth created in the world, more than 20% will be generated by China. This is double what is going to be generated by the US economy, which means for a company, a multinational like ZEISS, which is currently making 80% of its business revenue, innovation and manufacturing outside of its borders, China is the major market. You cannot be successful as a global multinational nowadays without being heavily and strongly engaged in the China market. So I think if you look at the Chinese economy, you have a long-term trajectory, which is an extremely positive trajectory. Over the last decade, China as an economy has done many things right. For example, if you look at the amount of investments which have gone into industrial upgrade, if you look at a focus in investments in research and development, innovation, these are topics which in the medium and long term are going to pay out for the growth of the economy. So if you're looking at this in terms of investments and companies investing, every company obviously has its own reasons, but if I look at ZEISS, we clearly believe in the continued growth of the China market, and we are actually doubling down on our investments. And we see more and more innovation coming out of China, and as a global company, we must be present in the market here with the local researchers, with the local partners, to drive but also to benefit from the innovation which is happening in the country.
Looking ahead, how does your company intend to fully tap into this Industry 4.0?
I was speaking earlier to you about our base in Guangdong in the Greater Bay Area, where there we have substantial manufacturing facilities for lenses, for eye care lenses. Here we are really fully integrating the concepts of Industry 4.0, where basically our machines are speaking to one another to have a seamless process from basically the raw material coming in at one end and having basically an individualized eyeglass for the consumer, which are then shipped throughout China and the region. Which means thanks to Industry 4.0, you can be in a situation where in an optical store, for a specific customer, there will be an individualized order done. And a few days later, you will be seeing this product coming out of manufacturing and being delivered to that. Everything is seamlessly communicated. The big advantage we have in China is the scale and the depth of the business environment. If I look at the future, where I see the real chances, China is really driving ahead in the areas of innovation. So today, we have a very strong footprint in terms of manufacturing and supply chain in China, which we'll continue to invest in and expand. But where we are really growing now is actually on innovation. innovation with our own people in China, but also innovation with partnerships in Chinese companies, where we are now developing products and solutions in China, which are then not only for the China market, but also being exported globally.
Nigerijské úřady zavedly nové předpisy, které umožní domácím rafineriím platit za dodávky ropy od producentů ropy v zemi v místní měně. Vláda rovněž zavedla novou směrnici, podle níž musí producenti nejprve prodat ropu místním rafineriím. Cílem tohoto kroku je snížit závislost země na dovozu rafinovaných produktů. Více informací přináší Dei Bademoší CGTN.
It's a huge relief for local refiners in Nigeria, who have been facing challenges sourcing forex to pay for crude supply after the government announced new regulations to boost domestic production. According to the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, payment for crude to domestic refiners can now be made in dollars, naira, or a combination of both.
We are not supposed to ask local refineries to pay for crude in dollars. So I think that's the way forward. It will actually help naira to be more strengthened. And also it will help for easy calculation of arriving at the costs of production and also determining the sales of petroleum products in naira.
But some analysts argue that the plan is not as straightforward and could in fact be cumbersome for some of the crude producers.
For the international oil companies, if they have to sell crude in naira, they will immediately request central bank to convert that naira to dollar, which defeats that objective. For local operators, they may accept naira without a compelling need to convert every part of it to dollar. You also have to be sure that the local crude producing company or companies producing crude do not have substantial part of their expense in dollar. If they have substantial part of their expense in dollar, they will require for dollar payment.
Nigeria's giant Dangote refinery has struggled to get enough crude supply locally and has been forced to import from the United States to make up for the stock it needed to begin operations. The new regulation now makes it mandatory for oil producers operating in Nigeria to supply crude to domestic refineries first before exporting. Oil regulators in the country say the directive will start being implemented in the second half of the year.
I think the greatest challenge is actually abiding with that domestic crude obligations, principally because if producers are not able to produce to meet their existing commitment, because some of them have entered into forward sales, and those forward sales may run for some period. So, but subsequently, it become over a period of time, it could become easy for them to exclude their domestic obligation before going into future or forward contracts.
For now, the specific quantity of crude each refinery is required to procure has not been determined, but there's no doubt that the directive will address the challenge of crude oil supply, which local refineries have been grappling with. DG Bademasi, CGTN, Lagos, Nigeria.
Zájem globálních společností o čínský spotřebitelský trh se zdvojnásobil. Na letošním veletrhu Hainan Expo se globální účastníci snaží navázat silná spojení se svými čínskými zákazníky a partnery. S oživením čínské i světové ekonomiky se posiluje i obchodní spolupráce na globální úrovni. Náš reportér Wang Tianyu o tom přímo na výstavě našel důkazy.
Welcome home. Thank you. This is James from the UK. He and his Chinese wife have more than 5 million followers on social media.
So we're among the better-known influencers in China who are from Europe.
I ran into them in Haikou, the capital city of China's southernmost island province Hainan, where the China International Consumer Products Expo is being held. Why was James at the event?
So we're involved a lot in helping to introduce European, especially British companies into the Chinese market and to kind of promote the investment of these English companies into China and especially into Hainan.
At this year's China Expo, there are over 4,000 brands from 71 countries and regions represented. What they're looking for is more or less what James has been doing to unlock China's fast-growing consumer market.
Actually, the foundation of the economy are very strong. The population is very young, and the middle class is growing. And I mean, we are 100% positive with the future, and it's just a matter of time. We need more or less to manage this transitional phase as everyone, and to set up the foundation of the business, to set up the strengths of our brand,
As a brand, we're looking to develop and always develop with China. For Hainan Expo, it's another great opportunity to show our vehicles, create a platform to invite trade commerce, and of course hear feedback directly from customers about what they expect from us and what we can deliver for them as a brand.
During my interviews, the global company's executive told me their Chinese customers are relatively younger and the proportion of female buyers are higher. They said that this country is where they will keep growing their roots in.
Čínský mezinárodní veletrh spotřebního zboží China International Consumer Products Expo ukazuje nové trendy v nakupování žen, ženská ekonomika, která odráží ekonomický vliv žen jako spotřebitelek, byla ústředním tématem veletrhu China International Consumer Products Expo. Jaké nové trendy formují nákupní zvyky žen? Naše ZHU nám o tom poví více.
Well, for every 3 lipsticks exported from France, 1 is purchased by Chinese consumers. This is a remark made by L'Oreal China CEO, highlighting a snapshot of China's she economy. Jewelries, beauty products, fashion show, this year's China International Consumer Products Expo also underscores the essence of the she economy. Well, what surprised me is that even in the traditionally male-dominated realm of sports cars, the number of female consumers is rapidly growing.
There are more females in comparison to the world average, not only in the super SUV, but also in our super sport cars.
As spending capabilities expand, what are some emerging trends in women's shopping? I found a jewelry booth teeming with many female consumers. This crown was once worn by Miss Czech Republic. Wow. Ta-da! Well, I feel like I am Miss Pavilion 4 for today now. Guess how much it is? Ta-da! It's 168 yuan, so that's less than $30 US.
捷克水晶，欧洲的水晶，准确的来说，我们都是用天然石英砂。
We use natural quartz sand and employ a series of processes including melting, purification, cutting, and inlaying to craft our crystals. Czech crystal is recognized as intangible cultural heritage with its value lying in its craftsmanship. Despite its luxurious appearance, it's actually quite affordable.
性价比是第一的嘛。
Cost effectiveness is key for everyday wear. Pricier jewelry tends to degrade over time.
适合自己个性的价格就是
As long as it complements my personality and falls within my acceptable price range, it's perfect.
对我不懂的，我可以
Even if a brand is well known, I won't buy it if its style doesn't resonate with me.
They don't blindly purchase big names. Instead, they prioritize value for money, opting for uniquely designed products. According to data from consulting firm Accenture, China has 400 million female consumers aged 20 to 60, with an annual spending power of up to 10 trillion yuan, or about $1.4 trillion US, close to the total retail market value of Germany, France, and the UK. Zhuzhu, CGTN, Haikou in Hainan Province.
Měnící se trh nutí britské maloobchodní prodejny s luxusní módou přizpůsobit se, říká odbornice na spotřebitele. Současný velmi rychle se měnící trh přiměl některé známé britské maloobchodní prodejny s luxusní módou, aby si udrželi pozici tím, že se budou renovovat a vyvíjet dostatečně rychle podle přání spotřebitelů, uvedla v pátek spotřebitelská expertka.
When COVID hit, there was certainly a challenge with tailored looks, but as we've seen life build back up again, there's been so many more entrants into the market that brand just had not evolved enough at the pace the consumer wanted. So if you're going to be almost a niche brand with a niche look, and the audience gets smaller, you're not going to perhaps be able to support a very strong network of stores and franchises with something that worked 10 years ago. This is a very fast-paced changing market. I think in maybe 2 or 3 years' time, the pain points will have started to ease and we will see this finessing. It will be about quality, not quantity. There will be less brands. I imagine there'll still be some more casualties to come. Some of those might really surprise us. But I think what we will get at the end is a place to be rather than a place to shop.
这家英国本土的时尚奢侈品服装连锁品牌呢已经关闭了，同时呢，另外14间门店呢也在陆续的关停。
Děkujeme, že jste sledovali náš pořad. Nashledanou u dalšího dílu pořadu Svět okem Raptora.